Greetings everyone. I wanted to make a lightsaber video for you detailing some of the personal lightsaber style that I use in my own sort of sparring practice, if you will. I don't have a lot of time to do this because it is dusk and so I'm rapidly losing daylight, and so I'm going to just do this real quickly and just do some explanations for you in another part of the video. So let's just quickly get to this here. Okay, so for my basic stance, I just keep myself sort of in a Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast sort of stance here. This is what the medium stance was. It keeps the blade close to you so that way you can maneuver it as you need to, either for defense or offense. I keep my stance wide enough that I can move as I need to quickly. So I can scoot one way and the other as I need to. So if I keep myself wide enough balance or wide enough stance, I have good balance. Keep the blade close to me. I point it at about a 45-degree angle. Can make it a little bit difficult for the opponent to judge exactly where it is, especially if it's kind of pointing more in his direction or her direction. Now, for my basic style, I use the essential of defense and counterattack. That's kind of what my basic idea is. So I don't consider myself a saber instructor, like dueling instructor of any sort of means necessarily. I'm probably a mixture of different forms, if you want to discuss the various lightsaber forms. Probably a hodgepodge of them, so I guess you could call it Form 6 if you really want to get technical. Sort of a jack of all trades, master of none, if you will. Basically, the way that I work it is that understanding that in real dueling, like competitive dueling, it's not really flashy, it just got to get the job done. And with the Vader's Vault Hero, with the control box in here, I don't do too much with the swooping and the things like that. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted to, but if I'm doing that quickly, I just have to grasp this one little spot, like right in here. It can be tricky with the control box, so in a more realistic dueling setting, I probably wouldn't do that. So I would just keep it more simple, kind of like how Luke does in Return of the Jedi. It's simple, it's effective, it's not all flying woofix and stuff like that. It's not like Form 4 or anything like that, but it's much more basic. So I keep the basic idea of defense and counterattack. So kind of in a Form 3 sort of idea, a very defensive idea. So I want to be able to cover all the different zones. So cover to my left shoulder, to my right shoulder, my left leg, my right leg, and just simple blocking off to the side like this, or if you want to, you can go blocks like that, okay? And then of course you can do an overhead block like this. I would kind of think off to an angle, so that way you can kind of deflect the blade one way or the other, and it could be one way or the other, or kind of a swiping motion, because there's different ways that you could block. You can do just real simply as I showed you, just kind of like that, and then you get right back into position. Or you could do it with a little bit more flourish to it. Now this is not a heavy grade. This is a Vader's Vault dual diffused blade that just comes standard with it. So it's not a heavy grade blade. Thin necks you shouldn't do with very, very heavy. So this is more kind of for light sparring, if you will, not too heavy, okay? But you could, if it's coming at, like that, where you could kind of, kind of things like that. And then of course, things like that, if you want to be a little bit more dramatic or put a little bit more oomph in it. So basic deflections. Let me show you from the side here. It's probably not going to look much different from here, but up to the shoulder, right shoulder, left leg, right leg, side, right side, overhead, or probably more something like, and then you know. The idea is that you want to get it out of the way. I think that's one of the ideas of Form 1 is break through the defense. Break through the defense, get through by pushing the blade out of the way. That's kind of the idea of Form 1. I think Terra Prime Light Armory discusses that a little bit in his explanations of the form. So you should check that out. Terra Prime, I think it is, Light Armory, they have some neat videos. Gensari, I think, does some pretty neat videos, just explaining the different forms and how it is in Star Wars literature. So you guys should check those out. Those are pretty cool. Now, that was defense. Then there's counterattack, okay? So the idea is I want to be able to counterattack to any zone I choose. So going on just one block here, okay? My left shoulder, if he's coming at me this way, I'm going to block that way, okay, to intercept there. And the idea is that when I block, hopefully I block with enough force to kind of bat his blade out of the way so I can attack at a different range. So maybe I'll attack to his right shoulder. Just a quick little tap. Maybe I'll go down to his legs. The opposite leg, maybe I'll swing around and get his leg down on that side. Or I could even just do a quick tap into his shoulder there, okay? So, and I can do that on my right shoulder too. From one side, right there, one leg, the other leg. I can do that same for the, down for the leg. If I block down here, attack the opposite shoulder. Hang on. If I go, then I could get it right there. Just swing around and get that same leg. Or up to that shoulder, like that. You could try to tap his other leg, I guess. You know, it's just real quick. And then again, blocking my right leg and counterattacking, I could get his other leg, attack the same leg, get the opposite shoulder, get the high shoulder above, okay? So those are all different counterattacks just from that simple idea. Now from the side, so you can see, okay? I don't know if you want my right side or my left side, but here it is. Okay, so blocking my left shoulder and counterattacking. The same, opposite shoulder, same leg, opposite leg, okay? Now, I'm gonna block from my right shoulder. Opposite shoulder, same shoulder, opposite leg, same leg. Now, defending my left leg, opposite shoulder, other leg, same leg, upper shoulder from that leg. Now I'm going to defend my right leg, opposite leg, same leg, opposite shoulder, same shoulder. Okay? And the idea is that you want to drill these so that way you have quick counterattacks so you can just get it and get it done quick. Okay? Now, you also want to be able to block at any sequence, okay? So you might want to try like that, kind of like how you see Luke versus Vader. He's kind of doing this sort of thing back and forth, right? So you want to practice blocking at different zones, okay? That was shoulder to leg, because if I'm coming at him, I might go like that, okay? I just did saber sounds. Or I might attack from one shoulder to the other. I might try to attack the legs. Okay? So, or I could try attacking from opposite sides. You know, just attacking at different zones. The idea is you just got to be ready to intercept at any spot. I could defend both my lower legs. Well, I guess that really wasn't, well, kind of. Because if I'm coming down this way, then I want to defend from that way, like that. And my thought is, get the blade away from, try to get his blade away from you, is the idea. Move your blade to his. It's like my old baseball coach used to say, well, you know, he said, baseball coaches usually say, keep your eye at the ball. He said, throw your hands to the ball, is what he said. So if I've got like this and I'm at bat, he says, throw your hands at the ball because the rest of the bat will follow. So, as he's going like that, the bat will follow your hands. So if you throw your hands to the ball, the bat will follow wherever you direct it. So kind of in that same idea, I'm thinking throw your saber at his saber. Aim for that and get it away from you so you can find an opening, because that's the big thing, okay? And then just practice those blocks. Both shoulders, both legs. Well, I guess that was a counterattack. Like that, a shoulder to leg block, okay? Because if you can defend, like Form 3, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Sorisu, if you can defend indefinitely, like he did, then you can find your opening. And if you find your opening, you'll be able to get him. Because if you just attack, then, you might score, but if he can block you, then it doesn't matter, okay? And borrowing from Form 1, you want to be able to get the saber out of the way, and there's a bit of aggression that comes with it too. So there's probably some footwork that's doing there. Like I said, I'm not a saber instructor. I don't have any martial arts training, so I'm sure that there are things that I'm doing wrong, but again, this is my own sort of, without having anyone to actually practice this stuff against, this is what I have. So it's good to sort of advance your opponent if you can. So if you can block, attack that way, just incorporate that into there, push, attack. You can get in close quarters to them, then you can throw them off balance, get close to them where they're uncomfortable. Block, attack. You do the same thing, block, attack. Whatever angle, whatever block and counterattack you want to do. But I just think that that's an effective way of handling just basic. I'm not talking about choreographed fighting. This isn't choreographed, because if you're doing choreographed stuff, then you're doing all kinds of crazy things like that, or just sort of, you're doing all kinds of things like that, which are fun to do, and it looks fun when you're fighting for filming a choreographed fight, but usually when you see anyone in competitive dueling, it's not about that, and it always seems that students are just kind of like that. I don't mean to offend anybody who actually does that, but that's just from an outsider's perspective. It just seems like when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to predict. It's hard to see what they're coming at or what angle they're coming at you. So it kind of turns into a thing like that where it's not very defined, and it's just sort of there, and it's over in 2 or 3 strikes. So, but real dueling is like that. You want it to be quick and dirty, and not be prolonged, because it looks better on film prolonged, but in reality, if you're actually dueling someone, you want to win, and that's my goal, is to give you guys a sort of basic form set, if you will, of defense and counterattack. Because if you do that, then you can keep your defense and find a way through their defense. So, just some quick review there. If you want to kind of try this here, you've got different zones, basic zones that you can attack from, or that you can defend. Your left shoulder, left leg, right leg. Overhead, you can come at it from this angle or this angle, whichever you want. And my idea is throw the blade toward it so you can knock it away. Do it at an angle, because if you do it straight up like this, I guess you can, like that, or maybe come at it at this sort of angle so it sort of slides down. And there are other techniques that you can use, like if they're coming at you overhead, you can kind of slide like that and get it from there, or you can do it the other way. You can use little side steps, and that's why I said keep a wide stance, so that way you can move around as you need to. Now, for things like stabs and stuff like that, so if they're coming at you like this, because sometimes you'll have that where they're just kind of coming at you this way, stabbing out in front instead of really coming at you with a swing, that's why I say keep the blade kind of close to you, so you can just sort of bat it aside. And the idea is you do want to carry the blade away from you, is my thought, because if you carry it away, then you can just get in there real quick and get them yourself. So just kind of a quick parry and in you go. So it's kind of a, and you could stab them too, although you got to be careful with stabbing. Wear safety gear if you're actually dueling. These things really, really hurt, okay? Wear safety gear, okay? So if they're coming at you with a stab, try to swipe it aside. And that's why I use a wide swipe. So that way it draws the blade to the side. And then again, you can counterattack. You can get at him from quickly at the shoulder. So like that, or you can get at him from this way. Or if you block the other side, or, you know, just quick movements. If you really want to have a really tight defense, you can kind of keep that idea of, if they're coming at you from the shoulder, you know, just quick like that. And the circular motion brings yourself right back in. And you can do the same thing with the lower blocks. You know, just swipe up, because that swiping covers most of your frontal area. Same as this, and same as this, but it keeps you right back in center. Keeps you right back in center. So, you know, so you can be really, really quick about it. So if you want to have a really tight defense, you can do that. And that circular motion will help draw the saber away, and then you can strike as you need to. Or you can do as I showed you at first, with more wider swipes to try to block it away. Now, one thing I will say real quick, why I don't do this sort of thing for up blocks is because at this, the angle that I'm blocking is that straight line just right here, which means that they have to be coming at me sort of at that straight line there, it seems. So if they're coming at me horizontally this way, it'll work. But most people don't usually come at you this way or that way. So they usually come at you in a straight line too. So doing this really doesn't seem that great for a block because it can easily miss. So that's why I say do this. You want as much, to me, I think, you want as much width of blade going at it to block you, or to block them, okay? Now, you could use that sort of thing to go for an attack to the head, again, if you're wearing safety gear, okay? You can go at it from the head, and you can go at it again from the head. I've seen some saber instructors who I've seen one video where it's like that. So you go from one side to the other side, and again, you're advancing, and you're going like that, you know? So you could do that. Or you could go, and again, you're advancing. The idea of that form one, you're advancing through. It's sort of an aggressive sort of form to push the blade out of the way and get it going. So anyway, well, it's kind of dark, probably. Like I said, I was losing my light. So, just so you guys can still see me. So, I hope that was informative for you, maybe at least entertaining, just to see a lightsaber in the dark working. Hopefully you can still see me somewhat. So I hope that was informative to you. I used to duel with my friends when I was a kid, and I had those plastic Hasbro, I guess they were Hasbro lightsabers, the good ones, not those blade builder ones, but the actual good ones. And we used to have fun whenever my friends and I would get together, and I would practice with them at home, you know, just pretending, you know, as we all did. Those of us who, you know, love the Jedi, especially the Jedi or the Sith, just the lightsaber in general. So these are just some basic ideas that I have. So again, I'm not a saber instructor. I don't know any martial arts. So take this with a grain of salt, but this is just kind of from my common sense perspective of observing the films and just kind of in general what kind of makes sense, but not from any sort of regimented point of view, not from any study of martial art from any sort of instructor. So please take that under advisement. This is half for entertainment, half for just sharing with you. So I hope you enjoy, and may the force be with you.